Record, my brother.
Hi, Nick. You're very close to me. It's really weird.
All right, and we're here with a group.
We're at Nashville, Tennessee.
You should get close to the mic if you're talking.
Yes, sorry. Well, we're in Nashville, Tennessee at ISIS. The room's packed. It's kind of weird to be standing here, to be honest. The only one that comes close to this is when we did a recording in your kitchen.
It was very intimate because we were looking at each other.
Yeah, and then your wife came in.
Right now. Yeah. All right. I want to thank AIS for giving us this room. And I want to thank JVB for welcoming everybody into the room on our behalf. Did you notice that? JVB actually has nothing to do with this other than the fact that he's the AIS president, or incoming AIS president. So he can welcome.
Yeah,
right?
but in all seriousness, I mean, the AIS, Robina, she organized all of this. We don't have to pay anything. It's very gracious. They don't have to do this. It's really cool that they're doing this and allowing us to do this.
It is.
Except for the beers, which we can't do.
So we have this thing every year where we give out awards. And it's kind of a best paper award, but we never want to give a best paper award because, there are all kinds of good papers. So what do? We have a Trailblazer if we think that it is like something new and ready to lay a new foundation.
That's right.
Then there's like a innovative
method award, for
we
like some
something.
really cool new method contributions.
And then we have another elegant. Then
elegant
we decided
scholarship.
Sometimes paper. It's not like it's the best paper. It was just really elegantly done. Right?
It's really, really well done. Yeah, and so we usually have a process where we ask people around and set as nominations. And the weirdest things happen is we asked like 40 people. We got 2 nominations. They were not published, and they only nominated themselves. So, seriously, we only had self-nomination. And I'm like, who does that? Sorry if you're listening, but who does that? Yeah. Have you ever self-nominated yourself for anything?
Never. Well, I don't know. I don't think so. I think there's something about nominating yourself. Even if you like it, you can't do that. You got to nominate someone else. You have to put things out into the world, and then it may or may not come back to you, but it's not about asking for it.
That's right, yeah.
All right, so with that said, so what? JVB welcomed everyone.
That's right. There's actually a reason he did, because he's part of the show here. Maybe we'll start with this, right? So one of the categories is the Trailblazing Award, which we usually say like something that opens up a new area of inquiry, right? And we had some really great papers, and we're usually pretty good at picking next year's real award winners. Anyway, so this year... So, by the way, because we didn't have any nominations, we had to read the paper.
Yeah, we had to actually go look at the journals.
Yep.
Grab a bunch of papers. We created a directory with a bunch of papers because our friends.
I created a directory with a bunch of papers.
He does everything. I just show up unprepared. But this time I prepared. I actually put an equal number of papers into our shared drive that he did.
That's right.
And then we read them all, and we went back and forth on WhatsApp primarily, determining, okay, which papers do we think are the cool ones?
Should we mention some honorable mentions that didn't actually get an award?
Do you have the directory?
I have it here, yeah.
I like some of them, and there are some that I just found out about that we didn't actually had. Like I just found out Tony Vance had a qualitative paper in management science.
Seriously,
have you ever heard of that?
No, seriously. There's a qualitative paper on cybersecurity in management science, and I didn't believe it, so I had them send it to me. But that's kind of cool.
So that never made it into our set, and I'm sure there are a few others that didn't make it into our set. So this is just us looking at titles. And then after looking at the titles, we would and then we'd find the ones we liked, and then we'd put them in a shared folder.
I want to mention a couple of papers. They we never really considered them for award, but they're kind of unusual. Kalle Lütjen and Rudi Hirschheim and Frank Land and someone else, they wrote 2 papers. It's a 2-paper paper on the history of IS development. It's like 100 pages. It's really long. It's times boring.
It's thorough.
It's very thorough, but it's not like they wrote such a long paper on the history of IS development that they made it into 2 papers. That's kind of cool. It's very unusual, and it's a good stuff if you're into IS development, which I am. So I thought I'd mention that. That's a very unusual thing. I don't know what the process behind that was, but that's unusual, yeah.
So that was one. I want to give a little shout out to another one. One of my colleagues, Sriram Samanchi, he passed away this year. Yeah, he wrote a beautiful paper at MISQ with Amit Abbasi, a few other people. Double D-biased machine learning as a method. It's a really outstanding paper. So that's one.
That's one. But we can't give a paper award to this because Amit won 2 awards.
Winning them.
Yeah, so we just don't give him any more. Maybe one more.
Yanzhen's here. We can start.
That's right. Maybe one more. There's a couple of really cool papers in the design science space. There's one by Vida Malakaul, who's, I'm not sure she's in the room, but she's definitely at ISIS, on reliability in design science, and another one on validity in design science, and these ones we really considered. Are they any good? You would know.
They're great.
They're great papers, yeah. So they're really cool papers, and these are really good ideas, I thought. I remember that the reliability paper, because the first version of that was many, many years ago when I was doing a track at ISIS. And that paper got submitted to the track, and the reviews were horrible. Like, the reviewers all rejected it. And I was like, no, that's a good idea. We need to push that good idea. So this is one of the few times that I remember that I completely overrode all the reviewer suggestions. Like, now that's a good idea, and I was really happy to see that out.
So you're taking credit for that?
I'm totally taking credit for that. I haven't read it, but yeah, I saw that.
So AB's got a paper that I thought was kind of cool, the experiments. Tony Vance has one where they did the experiments and then MRIs.
Yep, that's a good paper too.
So we had a bunch.
Yep.
But all right, so let's start with what we thought was the Trailblazing paper. So for those of you who may know this, there's a special issue coming up, a nice quarterly, on ethics, regulation, and policy that Stefan Seidel is leading.
ERP, by the way, someone figured out.
Ethics regulation. It's a new wave of ERP. I like that, yeah.
So anyway, and this whole idea of regulation, especially like you Europeans, right? There's a lot of GDPR data. What? We got a lot of Europeans in the room. I think we're probably predominantly European in this room.
ISIS is predominantly European.
That's true. It's Germans. Yeah. All these Germans. And then it's these Germans like Michael who actually live in Australia, which is really German. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, the regulation, and we think this paper, we already talked about it in the last podcast, but
this is your baby. You called it out a month ago, so
yeah. So it's no surprise to anybody.
Yeah, regulating emerging technologies. Stefan, Christoph, who's not here, and JVB. You come up here and get some applause. I'm so thankful. Come on, you need to come close to the microphone, guys. And we did an episode, which is probably my favorite episode of the year. I'm not sure if you listened to it yet, the one with Stefan. I just laughed out loud a lot when I was editing and producing it. Oh wow, we're doing focus.
Very much.
They're not gonna be on Spotify, you know that, right? It's a podcast, there's no. Anyway, thanks, man. So here you go. Wow. So who wants to say something?
Speech.
Speech, Stefan. Here's the microphone.
Thank you. To start with, what do you want me to say? Talk about the paper?
Not really.
Not really. No. Okay, so here's something.
Well, tell you why we like it.
So we're not supposed to say we're humbled by this, but we're honored.
It's actually semantically incorrect.
We're honored by it. So no, we actually do feel very honored and appreciate this award. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So, thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Christoph, who is not here. Thank you, all of you, who kind of made this possible. I really enjoyed the whole journey of this paper and behind the paper. It really goes back many, many years. When 2007, I went to Liechtenstein and started, to emerge into this ecosystem, and that actually was an amazing journey, which already started years earlier before the idea of the paper and the opportunity for the paper started, when we kind of accompanied the whole digitalization process over many, many years. And I think that's this prospective collective sense-making, which is in the paper, I think is really something which has been absolutely fascinating, and I enjoyed very much. And I'm grateful for all the many wonderful people, colleagues and friends who accompanied along the way. It's amazing to be recognized.
By the podcast.
It's amazing to be recognized by this incredibly professional podcast.
So maybe one story, tell one story from the review process, maybe. It must have gone through different rounds. There were editors involved, etc. What was one of the pushback? One of the pushback that you encountered in that paper?
You said we shouldn't be talking about the paper, so now
we're
talking about.
So did they give you sense making, or did you come up with sense making?
No, actually sense making was also one of the earlier ideas, so we came up with sense making. And let me tell the story of abstraction and elaboration just real quick. So the idea is that when you regulate something, you need to negotiate. So it's not that someone's just writing a law, but there's different stakeholders, they have vested interests, and they do need to form some shared mental model in order to get some actual result. And abstraction is the process by which you identify what's important, what is essential from the perspective of people, so what matters about the technology. So that's the abstraction process. But elaboration is important in order to say something meaningful about the technology. The rules, the roles that are involved, and to be able to effectively enforce the technology. And one last point, and I'll be done. Because there's all these people involved, you need to find common ground. And as you start abstracting away from all these different sort of positions, you can accommodate these different perspectives. And this is how we explain how they move from something fairly specific, regulating blockchain technology for cryptocurrency, to something that's more general, which is a law for trustworthy technology and the token economy. So that's the story. Yeah. So thanks for giving us the chance to talk about the
If I may add, like a personal learning from this, I mean, this all sounds ex post, it all sounds beautiful, of course, right? As if you do this case and it shows immediately in the data that, oh, there's all this, abstraction moves and all that. And I remember, Stefan, all the time we spent looking at this data and discussing, and what is it? We knew this is an amazing case, and we knew the data must be, that's very unique. But, I mean, what you do with this data, right? So, I mean, how you see something interesting then in the data, which has not been seen in any other cases before. And for me personally, at least, I learned, and I remember that now also when working in other groups and when supervising, I really learned also it takes sort of this courage, and it also takes this selective perspective on your data. So let's say, okay, what is it? What is specific? What's standing out? And then you go into the data and you go out again, you go in, you get out again, and so kind of it doesn't show immediately, but it really takes also this, finding something, and sometimes also a little bit this decision to what probably you want to see, or what might be an avenue to pursue, and then you pursue it, and then you revise it, go for another avenue, and you're like kind of really this very rich kind of working with this data, but maybe also for all the others. Like, I mean, if you read this in the end, it sounds so super impressive, and I would say like, oh, how could I probably see something like this in my data? I think it really kind of, it also takes this decision to be a bit selective, looking into that and prune out things which others have seen before, and then of course, conceptualize this properly.
I mean, the reality is, thanks, Jan, but the reality is that this could have been an elegant scholarship award. This is a beautiful piece of qualitative scholarship. Not only that, it's also extremely well documented, meticulously documented. So anyone who wants to know how to do this, I think it's a perfect example of how to do really good qualitative work, and including, like, I don't know how many people do this, but if you go to OSF, I mean, they got much of that stuff on the Open Science server. I do this too sometimes, but people never access this. Like, if you look at, I don't know, have you looked at how many people have accessed your site? Not a lot. So do that. It's full of really meticulous detail about the data and the analysis process. It's really good for learning how to do this.
So MISQ is doing that. They're pushing a transparency thing.
Yeah.
So, which sucks for qualitative work, because you go out there and you do a bunch of interviews, you do all this qualitative work, and then the idea is it's supposed to be transparent. So you didn't actually put up your qualitative interviews in the transparency.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because transparency obviously is important, and it's becoming more and more important. What happened in this particular case is that we were one of the first papers at MIS Quarterly doing transparency materials for a qualitative paper. I know Jan had one.
Yeah, but that was before the initiative.
Before. Yeah. Okay, but you did do transparency materials, and they're online. And here's the thing. So we are very detailed, and people read the very detailed, and that comes with a couple of challenges. So first of all, when you become very detailed, how much do you report and what do you not report? Because the more you report, the more question it raises about what else you could have reported. In that particular case, we couldn't speak much about the data because we had all these slides that said confidential, so you can't really put them up. Yeah.
And so for people that don't know how that works, so if you have a paper in any genre at the Quarterly since 2022, at some stage, as the paper sort of looks like it's moving through the review process, so not in round 1, but let's say in round 3, they actually, you get a transparency editor involved. So the transparency materials, which you have to disclose in the beginning, but you don't have to do much necessarily. But as the paper moves towards publication, you do have a look at that. And you see like how much of that can we make available, what is actually on the OSF, so some of that stuff then gets actually reviewed. And personally, I don't know whether you agree with this, but I think this is going to be the standard. Like it's been in some genres, like in experimental and some analytical computational data, you do have to put up the data during the review process anyway. And personally, I think we will see this for qualitative work as well. It's just going to be one of these things where the standards, the bar's getting higher. And so I would expect that everyone at some stage will have to give their coding thingies and their data structures, and eventually the raw data will have to be made available. Do you agree?
Let's move on to the next award.
All right. Thanks, guys. Congratulations. All right. Which one are we doing next? Let's do this one because I think they're not here today.
All right. So, elegant scholarship. So there's this... what's the name of the paper? Is it on there?
Yeah, the death of
a technical skill. So John Horton and Sonny Tomby.
That's a great paper. Yep.
You know this paper? I think it's computationally intensive theory construction. Although they don't say that in their paper at all.
Yeah.
They just do a very elegant. What was it? It was Adobe Flash.
Adobe Flash. They took. What's it? Steve Jobs. He did an announcement once that iOS is not supporting Flash anymore, and with that statement, they
Speak into the microphone. You think you're loud enough?
I am very loud. So they looked at this announcement, and they looked at online markets and say like how people advertise this and whether or not they moved into different skill areas and how they taught themselves the skills. I think this is so forward looking. I mean, this is a great paper. It's very elegantly done, and I think now in the age of AI, we can learn a lot from that paper.
And it's when you say so, there are two things we can take away from it. First of all, look at the empirics. They're pretty awesome. It's like 15 years. They slice and dice it a variety of different ways. There aren't any hypotheses. There's kind of an assumption, and then they work through the assumption. But the idea is this: you flip a technology, and all right, let's ask the group, what happens when you remove a technology? And you can't answer if you read the paper, right? Hands. You get a beer if you answer.
Yeah, we have more beers, which we can't out. Yeah.
All right. What happens? You take a technology, Adobe Flash. And then you discontinue it, say, we're not going to use it anymore. What do people who specialize in Adobe Flash do? Cry. Okay, that's one beer. But what really do they do? What do they do?
Reskill.
What's your name?
Dominic.
Dominic, reskill. Sure, that's close. Any other ideas other than reskilling? Sunan, what else do they do? Develop a similar technology? All right, I guess. I think it's reskilled, similar to... Right? They just... do something else and really quickly.
But the interesting thing is how they do this. Like they don't go and take an online course or go to university. They just the next project with a different skill is saying, yeah, I can do that, and then they figure it out on the fly. Right? That's kind of cool. Anyway, so I really think this is a beautifully well done paper. Also because if you look at this closely, it's for an IS paper. We love theory and all that stuff. It's pretty light on theory. In fact, you could call it atheoretical. It's a very empirically driven phenomena. They look at the date of the announcement, and then they look at empirical data, what happens next. They don't call it juxtaposition, confirmation, blah, 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 still theory. So they just do this. I like that.
Ricker has a problem. He doesn't want to like theory. All right? Have you guys noticed this? He doesn't want to. In his head, he's like Mr. Practical,
Mr. Empiricist,
Mr. I'm going to, do the real things of the world. And then what does he do? Well, he's an academic, and we have to take our body of knowledge and we have to codify it. So what does he end up doing? Theory, right? But he doesn't want to.
No, I just like good empirical work. I think there's a really good place for this. And I'm really happy to see that some journals don't put so much emphasis that this works literally get through. In some other journals, I reckon they would have had trouble. I don't know, we can ask them, they're not here. We asked them, but they're just not here. So this goes out to John and Prasanna. This is a brilliant paper. We send that to
we did these awards kind of as a goof the first year.
Yeah.
But then people like them. Right, they hanging up in their offices. We get to
They've been. We heard of cases where someone used it for their promotion tenure case and got it. I mean, that's awesome. But Nick's right. It was supposed to be a spoof, and the story was this: that You know, at ICES, we hand out a best paper year for the year 2024. And it's December 2025. It's like 2 years old. And it always annoyed the crap out of me.
And it was articles in advance, so it was actually out by the time you win your Best Paper Award, it's been out for 3 years and everybody's known about it.
Yeah, so we figured we do something for something that's actually like current. That's where we started. And of course, we can goof around because we can make up categories, like the Elegant Scholarship. We just made that up. Mm-hmm. And this year we didn't even have a process or a committee. It's just us because no one of our friends. Brother, you should be laughing. I sent emails to all of you, and you didn't send nomination. And the ones that did.
In the past, we would get a bunch of nominations. This year,
nothing. Absolutely nothing.
People are lazy. They're social loafers.
You didn't nominate anything.
You didn't nominate shit.
No, nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right. I don't know whether these people are in the room. We'll figure that out. So the third category is the Innovative Method Awards. And this is really for someone that follows a really cool new technique, a new method, a new way of doing research, really clever new innovation and method.
Can you pull up the paper? I forgot the two constructs they used.
Oh, they had a incoherence and evasiveness.
All right. Yeah. That's right. So here's a paper. What they did, so we might as well say it is. Yanzhen Chen, Huaxia Rui, and Andrew Winston.
Are you in the room? Oh, there you are!
Congratulations! So that's a beautiful paper. So you know what we loved? So it's the Innovative Method Award. You know what we loved about this method? There was what were the two constructs again?
Evasiveness. And incoherence, right?
Talk to us about how you want to tell us about
well, we need to tell what the paper is about. So this is a paper on conversation analytics. And what you did, you figure out a machine learning kind of method to measure in real-time strategic conversations. Like think a PR event of a company, and then on the other hand, our analysts.
We're looking at earnings calls.
Earnings calls and then analysts, etc. Right. So one of them has a strategic information advantage, the other one has a disadvantage, and then in real time, can we see whether an answer is evasive or whether an answer is incoherent and makes no sense, and what does it then do to the stock market returns?
So tell us about your two measures, because that's the thing I love about this paper.
You have to step forward.
You have to step forward behind the mic, and you measured two constructs. So what were they?
Right. In this paper, we propose two AI methods.
Yeah.
One is evasiveness, and the other one is incoherence. And we analyze the earnings calls to see if we can detect some insider information from the manager's responses.
Yeah, and in real time, first of all. And then in the paper, you have these beautiful, really clear examples from actual conversations, and you can clearly see how the Boeing guy is really evading the answer. It's like, well, like what I want to say, blah, and he does a lot of blah, blah, and then you can track that, you can detect that. Well, and then, of course, with the measures, we can stop it.
Evasiveness, you used LDA, and you used some sort of distance score.
Right.
Like
from
how
the answers and questions match each other.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. But then for the other one, for incoherence, you trained some sort of BERT model to do some adapted.
It's
Albert.
Yeah, the adapted BERT model.
And how did that work? What happened there?
Right. So we adapt and fine-tune on Albert model, and so in that way we can measure the how the thoughts hold together underlying the answers.
Yeah, and that's the coherence. And the whole idea is that if there's evasiveness, so what's cool in this paper is if you look at evasiveness, well, what they use words like if you look at the people who they use words like may and could. So you look at the measures of evasiveness, they just use like soft language, and then people count words like may and could, and it's kind of a lame way to think they're evasive. Your whole distance score is kind of like, well, there's a topic of a question, there's a topic of an answer. Are they close to each other? Mm-hmm. If they are, you're probably not evasive, right? If they're not close to each other, you're probably changing the topic or evasive or something. So I thought that was really elegant.
It's really cool. Yeah, it's also, it's also a robustness check. You validate against human coding of the same measures. But I want to know, where did you get that idea from?
I actually started from my life before academia. Back in 2012, I was still an analyst at Goldman Sachs. Staring at the factor models, and the factor models were suddenly become allergic to predicting returns. And now we call it the lost decades for factor model. But at that time, we were like, what happened to all these factors? And so my team and we were starting to think maybe the factors, the predictive power, is not in the financial statements is in the people side. So that's how we start to dig into the acoustic clues there.
I love that. I really do. So one funny story is, well, for this, we had to let the people know who won the award before we did it. Normally we don't. So we wrote an email. So that's how JB and Stefan knew. So I wrote an email saying, hey, congratulations. I don't know whether you know the podcast, but we have this podcast and we hand out very important awards. And she thought this was a bot spam mail. So from a different account, she's like, "Dear Professor Rector, I'm sorry, independent. Like, I got this really weird email. I don't understand." Like, no, this is true. You won.
So this is a really impressive award.
Yeah.
Forget everything else I just said about our award.
No. This is important. I want to hang in your office. You're going to hang that up?
Definitely. I probably read between the lines too much.
Yeah.
Although the email was very detailed and very thoughtful, I thought, let me just triple check what.
I was like, wow, where's the world has gone to? No, anyway, congratulations. This is a wonderful paper. And this is actually one of my favorite things about this award episode. We get to read papers that we would never read.
Should we get a picture? Did you have your camera that you want to?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do.
Come on, we'll do a selfie. Selfie with a beer.
Should I do it?
Yeah, awesome. So anyway, I really liked about
the beer and the award. There we go. Very good. Oh.
Okay, thanks, man.
Good. All right.
So I really like that again.
Now it's
no, wait. Can I make my point, please? So I really like the fact that we get to read papers that honestly I wouldn't read otherwise. Like, I don't do stock market returns and all this other stuff. And I get to see this and I marvel at the cleverness and the beauty of it. For him, I'm very happy. These are literally the first papers he's read this year.
We all know that's not true. All right, so this is what, if you want a beer, it's called Ask Recker a Question for a beer. And you have to come up here, you get your beer, and you ask Recker a question. So Sinan, we'll start with you. You have to ask Recker. Give the beer to Kezi. And come ask a question.
Well, do I have to answer it? What game is this?
We have to ask you. All right, so I'll start with a question to earn my own beer. I'm an assistant professor.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
How many A publications do I need to get tenure?
Well, the correct answer is depends, of course, on the...
No, give me a number. None of this.
5.
Really? What about if I have 4 in a pipeline?
4 in a pipeline? Yeah, you probably get away with that.
Yeah?
Yeah, in most places.
What if I have 6?
You'd like to think that that's a sure buy. I don't think that's true, because it really depends on what the paper's about. I think we're moving away from this stupid numbering system and back to, is that a good idea? And I think if you're really
good... All right, wait. So you're telling me I'm an assistant professor at a good university. I write 6 top-tier publications, and I go up for tenure. They could turn me down?
I'd like to think that's the case, and I also think that is actually happening.
And I know those stories, by the way, people.
Yeah.
Right? What are some reasons they would, if anybody has ideas, why would you turn someone down with 6 or more publications in top tier and not get tenure? What are some reasons?
Well, I only know it's from Europe and from some hiring committees we've been. Where were people that many, in that particular case, the one that I'm thinking of, many management science, they were frankly boring. And the conversation in the committee was like, yeah, there's a lot of management science paper. They're really boring. Do we want to have someone that writes boring papers? And then, didn't get out.
Yeah, boring papers. So they do actually do that. I think what's happening now is certain formulaic papers are indeed getting discounted.
Yeah.
And I've heard about this, and it's in recent years. So certain genres, certain types of papers that are maybe not as exciting and can be formulaic and that people can publish a lot. Number one, there's a trend among some editors to make it harder to publish these papers. The other thing is, what happens is, in the tenure process, in the hiring process, people are like, ooh, it's not just... So I think there's a little bit of a backlash to paper counting.
Yeah,
only.
I agree.
Now, I think there's like a hygiene factor.
Yeah.
So there's a certain number of papers you need to show, look, I can do good work. So you could be brilliant, and if you don't have a certain number of papers, you're not going to get tenure. But,
I agree.
But if you reach that number of papers, that does not necessarily mean you get tenure.
Yeah, and I
you have to be a good teacher. You have to be a good colleague. People have to like you. You have to.
I think you have to have something to say,
and you have to be interesting in your research.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to have like something to say about some topic, and it better be an interesting or probably original position. So my theory is that we're beginning to see a new area as a counterproduct to the system being corrupted. The metrics have become corrupted. We've seen it with citations, and we are seeing this with publications. That some people figure out a way of writing 10, 12, 15, whatever papers, and the system is realizing that, and they're moving away. And the best fallback option that they have is that they actually start reading the papers again, and sort of trying to evaluate, is that an original idea? Is that a new thought? Does the person have something to say? Because that's not the same. So I think that's what we're seeing until we get a new metric, and then that'll be the standard, and then that'll be corrupted, and then we'll go in this never-ending cycle. But at the moment, I'd like to think that the years of counting, slowly but surely, and it'll take a long time, but we're seeing an end to this. It's certainly not going up, I don't think. Because frankly, like 10, 15 years ago, the number 6, that was already a number 10 years ago.
All right.
So it hasn't gone more.
And what I tell, how many PhD students do we have in the room? Raise your hand if you're a PhD student. All right, we've got a bunch. Good. All right, PhD student, what's your name? Come on up. You. Robin. I'm Nick. Nice to meet you. Good to meet you. You got to talk to the microphone, Robin.
In this case, you have to bend like that.
Okay. All right, Robin. You're going to ask a question? All right, and you can get a beer. I was going to ask you a question.
Yeah, if I go up to the stage, then I get a beer, right?
Yeah, get a beer.
Thank you. So my question would be, when is there going to be this IS research tour? I like this tour.
How about a book? I want him to write a book. And then I'll be first author. For NT Record. I'm first author.
The podcast has a few citations, and it's always it's always Berentian Record. What the seriously? Anyway,
we did do a tour. We went to Copenhagen.
That's right. Yeah,
we were at Copenhagen Business School. That was the first. Where are you? Where are you a PhD student?
Münster.
Oh, you're in Münster. There you go.
So Münster's the next. Do we know anyone at Münster?
We know.
All right, good.
So you had a question to the PhD student. You can sit down now.
All right, sit down. Another PhD student. It could be one of mine. All right, Sunan, she's stepping up. All right. So Sunan, I have a question for you, unless you have one for us.
I have one for you.
All right.
Yeah, because I want my beer.
Here, you have to talk. Didn't you already get a bunch? Oh, you gave it to Kezi.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a question for you. So as an experienced IS researcher, when you brainstorm for a new project, how do you distinguish from a good idea from a bad one?
Whoa! See, this isn't a lightweight PhD student right here. This is a bad PhD student.
I don't know. Honestly, that's a great question. I don't know. The only thing I would say is that I really very quickly jump on I either think that's a good idea or that's not a good idea. Not this is great data or whatever else. I usually go by what's the quality of idea. I think that's a very subjective thing. I don't know. I can't give you any criteria. But I know that I really think fundamentally it's about good ideas. It really is. And then the rest is hard work.
So how do you know if an idea is good?
I don't know if I like it.
So I'll give you an answer. I think the best way to figure out if an idea is good is to know something to begin with. So if you know your shit, right? You know a domain. You know when, right? Xinyuan is here. She's the tensor person, right? She knows tensors. That's her thing. She knows them deeply. Right? You need to know something. When you know something, and you're very current, and you are deep in that thing, then you can spot interesting things. If you don't know anything, you don't know what's interesting or not. First of all, you don't know what other people have already said, but you don't know where to even begin. You have to know something first. Is that fair?
I find that very vaguely helpful, to be honest. Anyway, come up here. Come up here, get a beer, ask a question.
All right, what's your name?
Marvin.
Yeah. Marvin, where are you?
Third year, University of North Carolina, Greensboro.
All right, very cool.
I have a question for Stefan and you.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have a recent MIS paper on human AI guardrails, and in that paper you used predictive processing theory. It's a very complicated paper. So
Thomas is first author on that thing. He's over there. Don't blame us, Tommy. This is to you, okay?
So, I was just wondering whether you could just explain this in simple terms.
Tommy, come here. So,
your job.
This is Thomas Grizzle.
Yeah. Herr Dr. Professor, you want to explain the paper in simple terms? It's about guardrails.
Yeah, so either you put it into ChatGPT and let it summarize, or so essentially, where you asked the question, right? Essentially, guardrails are, let's say, that is a channel in between agents can move, right? So we cannot specify all the rules that they should follow in a specific situation because they learn, they are autonomous, but we can say what they should not do, right, or what they should do. And so norms are the way to actually instill that into the models, right? And we say that there are deep norms, so norms that should never be violated. And there are surface norms. So surface norms are more, let's say, flexible behavioral patterns that can emerge when agents coordinate. So that's the idea. Predictive processing is an awesome theory. I think it's not complicated, but I would say if you put it together with norms and then come up with design principles, it might get a little bit out of hand at some point. But yeah, predictive processing, what is really cool about that idea is it's coming from the cognitive sciences, and it has the same mechanisms and principles to explain learning and cognition, right, for both humans and machines. And that's pretty cool, right, because you have one learning theory for both types of agents. And this is why we use that idea and put it all together.
Dude, give him a beer. That's a brilliant explanation. That's really that's a lot. I read the paper too, and I was like, "What the? Like, I have no idea."
Cut it out.
This one,
all right.
This one,
here's the deal. So Tommy came to visit me at Notre Dame many years ago. He was a postdoc at Liechtenstein at the time. It was even before he was at St. Gallen. He was in love with this idea of predictive mind. And we were sitting there. We were at the bar at Notre Dame, and we were talking about it. I read the book because he was so excited. Andy Clark, right? What's the name of the book?
Surfing Uncertainty.
Surfing Uncertainty. Very cool book. But that's his argument. It's like your mind works through prediction. The computer, these neural nets, right? They work through prediction. So if we take the same metaphor, so that's what we were doing. We're like, we have to write a paper. We thought affordances, we brought in our friend Stefan, we were working with affordances, predictive. You have to realize, things happen in the review process. When we first submitted this paper, it had propositions on the back end. It didn't have the HCI, we reviewed HCI, human-computer interaction, we reviewed agent-based models, right? That wasn't there in the first round. In the first round, it was predictive mind and affordances with some propositions at the end. Over the course of multiple revisions, we kind of got rid of affordances. They told us to get rid of the propositions and put in design principles, and then we ended up having it, and then what you see is the result of the review process. But I think it's a beautiful paper. I think it's cool.
Maybe you should have gotten an award.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't give myself.
No, we don't give each other awards. That's
all right,
sorry.
So
it's a good paper.
Yeah. All right, thank you for the question. What any others?
Any other question? We have more beer, so we have more time.
Beer?
Ali, come on. You look like a PhD student. Come on, Ali.
All right, what's your name?
Joben.
What's going on, man? Here's your beer.
Okay, thank you. So there is this episode on the shiny new ideas for the next decade.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago, and maybe you can give us a quick update. Did this episode have any impact?
I don't remember what the idea
is. So are there like 20 new submissions to MISQ based on this episode?
Does anyone remember any of the ideas that we put forward? I don't remember any one of them.
I don't. Do you remember any shiny ideas?
Just give me one of them. What did we say? We did an episode on the theories of the 90s or something, and then the next one was 5 new ideas for the new.
You know what I think a big important new idea is? Ethics, regulation, and policy.
This ERP stuff. Yeah.
This ERP
stuff is a big idea.
Did you like any of the ideas in our shiny new ideas?
I don't quite remember the episode. I just looked it up to came up with a brilliant question.
You wanted to know what our impact was? I think you just answered what our impact was.
So a quick update maybe?
We'll do that. We'll listen to our own podcast. Do you ever listen to any of our old podcasts? We should do that.
Well, when I produce the episode, I have to listen to all of this again, and then I don't know about you, but when you hear yourself talk, it's not so cool. But so yeah, no, I don't listen to them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yanzhen didn't get a beer. I want him up here he has to earn a beer.
Honey earned 3 beers already. He's fine.
Honey gets too many beers.
Come on, someone else ask Nick a question, please. Yes, please. Come on, Ali.
All right, Ali, you got one? What's going on? Last time I saw you, you didn't have gray hair like this.
I just wanted to have a beer. So first, thanks guys for entertaining us for so many years. But I have a question.
All right.
Because we just had a panel on the use of synthetic data.
Oh, good.
In healthcare.
In healthcare. Oh.
And my PhD students always say, "You guys know all the answers."
Yeah. So whether that's okay or not okay?
There were a couple of questions that I couldn't answer, so I thought, who could answer them?
I'll do evasiveness and incoherence a little bit, but more evasiveness.
Mostly
my evasive answer to that is,
so I didn't even
I think as a field in general,
he doesn't need a question. You just said something. He's ready to go.
As a field in general, I think we're way too conservative in how we handle anything related to AI. When you ask people about AI in the publishing process, AI, there's the thing on AI and qualitative, and the usual reaction that you get from most people is, "Oh no, we gotta not do that, and no, that's not okay, etc." I think so. The base reaction seems to be no, and so I guess the synthetic data in healthcare, no, that's not okay. And I think that's as a stance, I don't like that because we could play the other round. We're the techie guys, right? We're the digital field, so we should be
doing more of it.
We should be doing more of it and exploring, and then in case something goes wrong, figure out the guardrails. But not, instead of saying no, let's try to protect ourselves against the ways that we can't protect it. So synthetic data in healthcare, there's probably use cases.
What was your question though?
So I'll ask it to you. Yeah. But great answer. Yeah. I really wanted to. Good answer. That's why you're so great, guys. That's why you're so great.
Can I get a beer?
Yeah. So just to keep it short, what's your favorite beer?
I like
German one.
Oh, German one.
There's no other beers.
Well, all right. So I think I was in Munich. I can't remember. Johann, did we have a Dunkel Alt? Did we have that in?
Dunkles Weiss.
That's an oxymoron, by the way. I thought it was an Alt. I know Dunkel Weissen. I know that one, but I thought it was a Dunkel. All right, so I like that.
If you do a tour, visit us at Tilm, the beers only, okay?
All
right, thanks, guys.
That's very good. Cool. Thanks, Ali. All right, so we want to do one more or wrap up?
I want Yanzhen to come talk. He's our second guest. Just come up here, Yanzhen. I have a question for Yanzhen.
All right, Yanzhen, come up. See what Nick does? He always he only takes his own students. He only talks about his own paper. Brings up his own friends.
So, Yanzhen, I have a question for you.
You need to go closer.
Should we use synthetic data in our research? And how should we use ChatGPT and other generative AI tools? What's the Yanzhen view on this?
I don't know. I think I recently built MCP connector to
what is an MCP connector?
Model context protocol. And so I connected it to Zotero database, and it's really useful. So I write literature review section, and then I give it to Claude and said, based on all the articles I read in my database, tell me which article I missed, how I can integrate, and then you missed this, potentially you can use this.
And it works?
It works really well.
So I was just using Notebook LM the other day, and I just had it summarize the exact paper. I'm like, give me the citations for the 10 papers. I just put in this, and it put in an extra citation, and it forgot one of them. It's not accurate. They do well. You have to double check them. Do you double check when you do this stuff?
I know these papers that I read.
And it's accurate?
Yeah. Well, I missed it. And then some of them I don't use. You don't have to follow every recommendation it has.
Yeah.
So, but it was useful. I think I used Notebook LM, right? So when I was writing a paper, and usually I highlight parts of the articles I read, and then I go back and try to find that particular phrase to insert into the paper. Now I don't have to find it. I just go and said, I think this paper has this kind of ideas, and can you find the exact sentence? And then I cut and paste and drop it into the paper. So I end up finding myself citing more direct quote of other people's work in my paper than ever before.
All right, Kezi, can you give Yanzhen advice on what he should do with AI? Come up here and you can get a beer. You have to earn the beer.
Can I give her my beer?
You can do that. Do you have a beer?
So just while we're waiting for Kezi, like we went to pick these beers, and I picked nice beers. Ali, I did, and then because he's saying no, we have to take Coors, and I was like, that's the worst beer that I know.
You have to go give Yanzhen advice.
Yeah.
What advice would you give Yanzhen as he tries to use generative AI in his? Because he doesn't know what he's doing. He's trusting these things.
Well, so one of the things that we have to, generally, before I give him specific advice, I think one of the things that we need to think about as a research community is when we're using these technologies or intelligence systems, what are some of the unintended consequences that, have impacts to the society that really developers don't have that in mind when they're building the system. So, or unanticipated consequences that these intelligence systems have to society that really they didn't have in mind when they were building them. So that's one thing.
So like in Yanzhen's research, what's he missing?
So what he is missing in his research, for example, so he said that he is able to copy right now, like direct quotes from the papers and, cite it directly. So so one thing is we know that generative AI, they are hallucinating a lot. So that's one problem that we have that is not fixed yet. So when you are copying directly from like an output from a generative AI, I think trusting it 100% might not be helpful just because we know that it might be hallucinating.
Yeah. So I read the book.
Well, but I think that's it. I think you nailed it. I think this idea, and I was in a meeting today where someone said they took the Gen AI and they made a table with something and then they just ran something off of it. I think we have this naive kind of trust in these things, and Yanzhen is one of those people.
So no, I think so. I think you need to read, go back and check the quotes that the paper gave, and so that helps you to save time to find the exact quote that you want. But the reason I came up here is I had a recently very strange experience. So I rejected 2 papers.
That's a strange experience.
Yeah. But what I realized, so it was fairly well written paper, but as I was reviewing it, both of them were desk reject. And as I was reading the manuscript, I felt that the theoretical construction had no bone. It was just like a hollow. It just regurgitating ideas and concepts and so on and so forth. And then both of them had a similar sort of feel, writing style. And then I realized that these 2 papers were about different topics, used different data, both survey at firm level. But I realized that they used the same very esoteric theory. And I now suspect that both of these authors use the same generative AI to generate theory. I don't want to say that they let the AI to write the paper. I think they worked with the paper to give them benefit of doubt to generate the kernel of theories, and then they thought it was pretty good, and the theory construction was pretty weak. But it's not very well-known theory, and how likely is it that 2 papers in 2 weeks?
Was it Delanda?
No.
Thank God. All right.
So just to add on that point, so I think that is where we talk about human in the loop concept, where we don't over-rely on LLMs or on AI totally, but we have to have human, oversight on it. So I think.
And those humans should know something.
Yeah, humans
right?
should know something too. So,
but I'll go back to my earlier point. I mean, like the only way for us to figure that out is that we have to move forward. We have to go, try, explore, see what happens if we generate a theory for a survey paper and submit it. And we have to do all of these things to figure out the things that we want or not want, or which are okay or not okay, whatever. So we can't take a stance of not allowing any of these exploration to happen. We need to go and explore. And we better be the first to do it, rather than wait what we've always done, which is let's have a look at what AMJ is doing, and then we'll do the same thing. Yeah, so let's figure out our own way forward. Anyway.
All right. Kezi, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. We have one more left, and then we have to wrap up.
Yeah, we're wrapping up.
All right. You already had one, so we'll go over.
We'll go over to you.
Come on up.
Actually, we have another case of beers left, but yeah. But we're running out of time. This is a long episode.
Yeah, this is a long episode. Here's your beer. What's your name?
Saeed.
Saeed?
Yeah. How's it going?
Yeah,
it's
fine.
man.
I had the experience 2 years ago. I ran a workshop with my PhD students and my colleagues PhD students, and we actually worked on your book about doing IS research.
Ah.
And I would ask you today, if you had to write a second edition in light of ChatGPT, which part of the book you think would be most influenced by?
So that's a good question, because I think it's amazing how quickly this book gets out of date, I think. So I really would want to write another edition. I don't know whether I'd do it, but I would do 3 things. So first, I think we can't do a book on IS without having econ of IS in there. So I think right.
You have no econ? You don't know anything about it.
Yeah, so that's why Dominic is helping me.
So wait, explain to the audience the whole idea of an instrumental variable.
Second, there's got to be something about AI, right? AI in research. Problem is, I think that I don't know what to say, because we don't know, right? I think we'll have to give it a year or 2 until we see some of the guardrails and commentaries and method advice for how to do it.
Tommy and I have a book or paper on guardrails.
So I would do that, and then the usual classics are I would definitely add a new section to the book, which is about what this field is about. Because the book is actually very light on information systems, really. Like it doesn't say a lot about it. Yeah. So I think I would add something there. And what I thought I would do is, there's a couple of these historical accounts, like Rudy Hirsham's paper and other ones. I would try to summarize that and say, like, this is the field.
Socio-technical.
This is where we've come from. This is socio-technical thinking. This is blah, and this is where we're at. And I think this is missing. But I don't know whether I'll do this, but that's something I would add to.
Where are you located?
I'm in France, in Paris. Don't you think we should teach our PhD students how to use ChatGPT to write papers, but without going too far?
No, I don't think. What's good is if you're teaching someone to be an expert at something.
Yeah.
How's ChatGPT is beginner knowledge? It's not an expert at anything. It's the lowest common denominator of knowledge, and we as professors should be moving knowledge forward. We should know it deeply and intimately. If we're using ChatGPT for our knowledge, we're fakes.
Yeah.
We're cheaters, right? We're phonies. And you shouldn't be a professor. You should be a software. What? This is not. I believe this 100%. If you're using ChatGPT and you don't know fundamentally what you're writing about, you have no business calling yourself a scholar or a professor or an academic.
I was not talking about myself.
Not you. It's the general you, not you as a person.
I just reiterated an episode that I did on this where we said, like, if it feels like a shortcut, it's probably a shortcut. There are no shortcuts. Don't take shortcuts. All right. That's how it would.
So
put it.
Let's thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
This was fun. All right, we can stop.
See you next time.